Today we're going to be talking about salad bowls. Salad bowls are a great way to get greens in your diet early in the spring. As soon as your local garden center or big box store starts selling garden vegetables, and it's probably going to be the greens that they sell first and some of the herbs, go ahead and get them. You can get cell packs, little tiny packages of small lettuce and a lot of other varieties of greens, and you can plant them into earth boxes or into bowls like these, any container early in the spring. Whether you have an apartment and just have a sunny window or whether you have a garden, it's still easier to plant them into containers because you don't have to do all the work in the garden soil to be able to plant. You can just put together something, a nice tabletop planter. And so as soon as they're available, go ahead and start getting them and start planting. As for what you want to plant, it's easy to grow lettuce, spinach, kale, chard, pansies, mint, some of the other herbs. There's just a lot of different varieties that can be planted, and a lot of different varieties of spinach or kale or lettuce that can go into these bowls. So you can have the little lettuce like this or a big leafy lettuce like this. You can have just different cabbages, the Chinese cabbages, bok choy. A lot of different vegetables that are the greens can go into these salad bowls. Now they get planted the same way we would plant into any other container or into the ground. You would plant the top of the soil on the little root ball is the same as the top of the soil in the container. Now the biggest difference is that you're going to plant them a lot closer together than you would spaced out in a garden, because we're going to be harvesting virtually continuously, and we're going to be cutting off the leaves, and so we're going to open up that area where they're starting to grow together. We're going to be harvesting those leaves, and so as the plants get bigger, they'll get farther apart and spread out, and so it's easy to plant a lot of things together that you would normally think, well, that's way too dense and we're not going to do it that way. Now these are easy to maintain plants. They like to be cool, so cool weather is great. If you're wearing long sleeves and it's cool weather, then they can be outside. If it starts to getting too warm, they will bolt a lot of times, so you'll start seeing flower stalks come up. I left this one on specifically to show you, you don't want to leave things like this growing on your plants. This is something you do want to cut off. As soon as you start seeing it come up, you want to get rid of it, because you don't want the plant to produce flowers and seeds. You want them to continue producing leaves for something you can eat. So if the weather starts getting too warm, they will start flowering, and you want to definitely nip that in the bud and cut that off and not let them do that. They do like to be in a lot of sun, so the brighter area you can grow them in, the better. If there's some bright shade, that will be fine. That'll make them last longer into the warmer weather if they're a little shadier in a full situation. But the brighter the light, the better. If you're indoors under light or in a bright sunny window, and especially if you can keep it cool. So cool and sunshine are the two most important elements. Watering needs to be done just to keep the soil damp. Just not waterlogged, not dry. Just keep it damp. If it gets too dry, they'll wilt, and then the leaves are not very good because it's kind of slimy and they just don't work very well. So you want to keep them watered enough to keep them growing continuously. You don't have to do any fertilizing. Using regular potting mix will be fine. A lot of times those will have a little bit of fertilizer mixed in, and so that you don't have to do any extra work like you might in a garden to try to keep them growing like that. You do want to let them grow for a few weeks before you start harvesting. When you plant them, they're going to be really small little plants, and we want to have a big top. Well, as we know, there's a balance between the top and the bottom of plants, and so you can't have more leaves. You have roots supplying the water and the nutrients out of the soil, and you can't have more roots than you have leaves supplying food back the other way. So if you start harvesting too soon, you won't get a very big root system, which means you won't get a very big top. So we do want to let them grow for a few weeks to get established and get a root system started to grow out, and then we'll start the harvest. And harvesting is easy, just to take a pair of scissors and you can just go on cutting the lower leaves off the plants, and it's really easy to take care of that way. Or you can just start harvesting and eating them on the And you see the pansy flowers are edible, and some of the nasturtiums are edible too, and the nasturtiums are very peppery. The pansies are not very peppery, but they are very attractive in a salad, and so I do like putting pansies in the salad. That's all there is to growing a salad bowl. It's a very pretty tabletop planter. You can use it as a centerpiece in your outdoor table, or indoors under lights especially. It'll last a lot longer. As they get into warm weather, they will stop producing, and then you just go ahead and put in something else for the summer, especially if you're using an earth box or another planter. You switch that over into tomatoes or peppers or some other kind of warm season vegetable as these get to the end of their season. In the middle of summer, July, end of July, beginning of August, somewhere where it's really hot, where you don't think it's the right time to do it, plant some lettuce seeds in your salad bowl. Because these are cool season crops, you wouldn't think of planting them in the summertime. But if you plant them in the summer, they will start maturing, and you'll have a good crop of plants in the fall when it's cool. Obviously this one wasn't done that way, but I'm just giving you that bonus tip. Keep your bowls looking nice and neat by maintaining it. You'll have better, healthier, stronger plants of the ones that are remaining if you get rid of the old stuff, because you might spread diseases and root rot and other kinds of things in there. And watch the tops of your plants as well. The cabbage moth, the white and yellow butterflies that fly around, will sometimes lay eggs on your broccolis and your cabbage family plants, and some of the kale and some of the lettuce, and those caterpillars will eat your plants, and so you'll end up with a really ugly looking leaf here that you can't eat. But also at the same time, watch for wasps. Now the wasps are not a harmful thing to you, but they are harmful to the caterpillars, and I have actually seen yellow jacket wasps come and take the cabbage moth caterpillars off my plants. So here's a plant that I didn't want to spray with an insecticide because I want to eat it, and now I have a natural predator taking care of my problems. So watch your plants in the summertime for insect problems, and get rid of the dying leaves and stuff to maintain it, keep it up neat, and replant lettuce in the summertime so that you can have it as a fall crop later on. And that's the bonus tip. This has been Jeff with A Greener View. Thanks for watching.